Hey, good people, welcome back to another video. My name is Ola. In this video, we're going to talk about one of the most crucial steps that you need to pay attention to before you set any type of goals. This is a step that I have missed tons of times, and then I sit there and wonder, why on earth am I not gaining the traction that I want to gain? And once I figured out that this was something that I needed to do, and I just kept on skipping this step, or I would do a part of the step, once I fixed that, things started to change. So if you find that your goals lack direction, you feel scattered, you're not consistent with the action that you take towards your goals, this video is going to be for you. So go ahead and grab the pen, grab the paper. Let's get ready to take some notes. All right, so in this video, we are talking about your core values. Your core values are a very important part to any decision that you make. Why? Because your decisions are filtered through your values. Our core values are emotions that are represented by the decisions we actually make. And our values determine how we're spending our time, how we're spending our money, how we're spending our resources, our energy, all of that. How we're perceive things. That's all based out of our core values. But essentially, our values represent what is important to us in our life. Think about the home that you live in. Think about the car that you drive. Think about the job that you have. Think about how you shop, how you spend your money, how you manage your money. Think about the friends that you have and the friends that you don't have, the things that you decide to do or events that you decide to go to, things that you decide to participate in, whether it's clubs, community events, things like that. All of those things are results of our core values. And one thing to note is that you can either be conscious of what your core values are or unconscious. So that's what we're going to dig into. We're going to do an exercise that'll kind of walk us through the process of identifying what our current core values are, and then identifying or go through an exercise where we identify what kind of core values we should have based off of the vision that we have. Okay. If your most important value is health, then you're probably going to make very specific decisions about what you eat, what you drink, and the level of activity that you participate in. If your most important value is wealth, you're probably going to focus your time and energy into specific research about how to manage your money, how to gain more money, how to make your money work for you in very specific ways. If your most important value is freedom, then you're probably going to invest your resources into things that free up your time, free up your money, free up your attendance, all of those things, because you want location freedom, time freedom, financial freedom. If your most important value is accomplishment, then you are probably going to listen to people and look at people or model your life around people who are successful in your eyes. These are people who have done what you want to do, have what you want to have, enjoy life the way that you would like to enjoy life. All of those things matter. Then we have faith. If you're a Christian, then you dedicate a lot of time into reading and studying and applying the Bible, applying the Word of God to your life. This is one that hit me, and it hit me really hard because I didn't think that comfort was one of my core values. And then I found out it was. But if comfort is a core value of yours, then you probably make decisions that they allow you to maintain your status quo. So if you feel bored in life, then chances are you have made decisions where it keeps you stuck and bored in life. If you want more vitality, more energy, if you want more spontaneity in life, then you got to make those spontaneous or spontaneous, not spontaneity, spontaneous decisions. It's not until we decide to make a shift that things begin to change. The first shift that we have to make is to understand that we all have values, but we're not always conscious of those values. And a lot of times we don't prioritize our values equally. So while you may have, your top 5 values, that doesn't mean that all 5 of those values are number one. There's only one priority value that you filter everything else through. Now, my question to you is, do you know what that value is? Now, the reason why value ranking is important is because it is what leads us to the life we currently live and the type of life that we will live in the future. So, when I think about a lot of successful people that I admire, or successful people that I see that are doing the things that I would like to do, or have opportunities that I would like to take advantage of, I am looking at them and wondering, what decisions are they making? Your core values determine your decisions, which determines your consistency. So if you're tired of being in a cycle, I'm speaking to myself too. But if you're tired of being in the same cycle and you're trying to figure out what is happening, it's probably connected to your core values. So, first, let's go into how to uncover your current core values. So, there are a couple of questions that you will need to ask yourself. And then, when you ask yourself these questions, it's important that you write all of this down. I will scream from the mountaintop every chance I get. If you don't have a journal, you need to get a journal. Why? Because you're going to be doing this exercise more often than you probably anticipate. It's not a one and done, and I'm sitting here trying to grab my journal. You need a journal because you're going to be doing this type of exercise every time you're ready to go to the next level, because your core values are going to change, your vision is going to change, your goals are going to change. They're supposed to. But if you're not keeping track, then you won't be able to tell how far you've come. And it's going to be hard for you to kind of sit in gratitude and sit in the accomplishment and be able to reflect on how far you've come. So go ahead and just go ahead and get a journal. Get a journal. Get a journal. Get a journal. Let's get into the questions. Now, the first question you want to ask yourself is, what has been most important to you? The second question is, what do I enjoy doing? The third question is, what would I do if there were no limitations? The fourth question and final question is, what do I spend my free or spare time on? So when you're writing the answers to these questions, write what comes to mind first. Like the first thing that comes to mind, write it down. Don't spend too much time thinking about it, overthinking it, overanalyzing it, because you're going to rob yourself of an opportunity. So what comes up, put it down on paper. Now, after you've written down these questions, then you're going to sit and you're going to reflect. You're going to reflect on the last 12 months life and the decisions that you've made and write them down and compare those decisions to those values that you stated, or what has been most important to you. Because essentially what we're doing is we're identifying what our spoken values are, so what we think our conscious values are, and we're looking at what our unconscious values are. You want to make sure that you're writing down your decisions, because those decisions that you write down are what your true values are. They say what your values are. Now, I'm going to give you some examples. So let's say when I answer these questions, and I'll just go for the first one. What has been most important to me? If I'm writing, I value achievement, and then I look at the last 12 months and I look at the decisions that I made, and I haven't accomplished anything, or I can't think of something that I've accomplished that was like a major thing, then maybe I don't value achievement. This is kind of where we're going with this. The next one is the next example is, I value physical health. But then I look at my decisions and I see that I haven't worked out in 6 months. So maybe I don't value health the way I said I value health, or physical health, because you got to exercise in order to have physical health. And then maybe you say, or the next example will be, I value community. But then I look at the last 12 months and I see that I haven't checked in on my friends in 3 months. But if you have time to scroll on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, any of them, then you have time to send a quick text message. Hey, just thinking of you, how you doing? Myself included. I'm not excluding myself from any of this. So now let's look at the inverse of these examples. So if my decisions say that I spend 3 hours, if based off of my decisions, and I'm looking like at my habits and things of that nature, and I see that I spend 3 hours a day scrolling on social media, then I actually value escaping my current life. If I look at the last 12 months and I see that I've been eating fried food, fast food, unhealthy food, every opportunity that I get, I value convenience. among other things, but we're just going to stick with convenience. Because fried food, fast food, you don't have to worry about cooking it because you just go and pick it up. You value convenience over saving money because you're just going to go spend the bag on the food instead of saving it, investing in it, making it work for you, things of that nature. So the next one is over the last 12 months, I've been looking at my behavior, habits, decisions that I've made, my bank account, all of those things, um, relationships, all of those. And I see that I have a habit of complaining a lot about life, job, people, but I haven't made any changes. I haven't brought any solutions to the table. Well, maybe it's that you value being a victim, you value venting your problems over finding solutions, which means you value emotional dumping. Now, again, when we're asking ourselves these questions, we have to be very honest with ourselves because that's going to be the first start to making any type of change. So once you spend time completing this exercise, and again, we're walking through it right now. Um, if you want to use this video as a companion to your exercise, by all means, do so. Pause when you need to. But once you spend time completing this exercise, you're going to want to write down what your top 5 core values are. You're going to rank them in order. So, what has been the most important thing? And the reason why you do this exercise because you want to change your status quo. You want to change what life is like right now. If you have been feeling stuck, if you have been feeling like you're frustrated, if you've been feeling like things are not going the way you intended or the way that you envisioned when you did that last vision exercise and it's just not working, then it's not an external problem, it's an internal problem. And so we have to learn to be reflective and look inward. And so when you change your status quo, you're trying to change so you can go to whatever that next phase, that next level is, and you want better lives, but you have to know what your starting point is. So that's the reason why this particular exercise is incredibly important. So once you do this exercise, again, you're going to write down the top 5 core values that you have. You're going to list them in a ranking order. Now, why are we ranking these values? It's important. You're ranking your values because it determines what's most important to you. Your top priority or your top value is how you will filter everything else. I'm going to show you an example. So let's say you value security over everything else. Security is your first one, and then let's say connection. So you're saying you value security, connection, and freedom. We'll say those are your top 3 in that order. If security is your top value, then that means you're putting your safety as a first priority. Say with me. If connection is your second value, it means that you won't connect with anyone or anything that could compromise your safety. Third is freedom. If you value freedom at the third level, then you won't take a risk on anything that would compromise a connection or your safety. So that means because I value security, and again, there's no right or wrong answer. I'm just kind of giving you an example. If I value security, it means I'm putting my safety first. So I have a relationship with someone that I feel safe with. Great. Wonderful. Good job. And so I have that connection. But along with security and connection, I also want freedom. I want freedom to do the things that I want to do the way I want to do them. Um, I want, location freedom, time freedom, financial freedom. But I'm not going to take any risk that's going to compromise my connection with the person that I have in my safety. So that limits the amount of freedom I can have or the type of freedom or health. But you say, I don't have time to work out. You don't value physical health. That it's just plain and simple. Because if you value it, you'll make sure that you have time for it. Even if that means you're getting up earlier in the day, you're staying up later in the night. If that means that instead of you going to I was watching a video and this guy did this perfect example. It was like, and it made me giggle too, because me and my husband have done this. But he said, if you value physical health, Then when you go to the movies, instead of getting popcorn and a Coke, you're going to probably come in there with water and a protein bar. And that is me and my husband. We go in there with protein bars, protein cookies, and like nuts that we already packed from the house and water. Very rarely are we going to be in there with, the slushies and the not frosties, that's Wendy's, but slushies and all of that. But it makes total sense. Like, and you don't think about it when you're doing it because it's just autopilot. It's an unconscious decision. Ooh, that looks good. Ooh, that look like it tastes good. We're valuing taste. We're valuing the way it looks versus the way it feels versus the long-term effects. So now let's go through some questions that you will ask yourself again so that you can start creating new core values. And those new core values are then going to help you move forward with creating your new life. So, the first question is, what does the life you want to live look like? And describe it in detail. Now, this is the question that I would always hear. And I would always, like, I'll write it down in my journal. I'd write myself a nice little letter and I say, yep, this is the life I'm about to live. I'm waking up in the morning. This is the visualization that I'm doing. But my values do not match that. So that's the reason why I never got it. I wasn't looking that way. So this is the missing key, knowing what those values are, being conscious of them. All right. So you're going to ask yourself, what does the life you want to live look like? You're going to describe it in detail. No limitations, no disbelief, and no impossibilities. You can't allow any of that to come into this vision. This is your big, audacious vision. This is your big, bold vision. You also want to find people that model the life that you want. So sometimes we may have a little bit of a problem with dreaming bigger. So maybe we need to borrow somebody else's dream temporarily until we kind of get in the mode and identify what it is that we want and we don't want. And that may be okay for some people. If that is the case, make sure you're modeling off of someone that you actually that's the fruit you want. Make sure you're modeling off the right kind of fruit. That's where I'll leave that. Then after you do that, you're going to ask yourself, what do your values need to be in order to create this vision? So you have this grand vision that you have created and you've fallen in love with it, and it's just you're just excited and you can't wait. It's on your laptop, it's on everything. Like you got a vision board for it, all of that, right? You are now responsible for identifying what values are required in order for you to achieve this particular vision. Then you also need to look at what type of work is going to be needed. What type of person do I need to become in order to achieve or in order to do the things that are required in order to achieve that goal? So this is a be, do, have equation. And you can actually find this in the book of Genesis. So, but there is a be, do, have. You first have to become, and then once you become, you are able to do the things. Once you're able to do the things, then you're able to have or achieve those things. It does not work any other way. The next question you want to ask is, what changes do you need to make based off of your current value, your current core values, and the values you've just listed that are required? Identify what changes that you need to make. Maybe you need to change your whole list. And again, we're just starting with 5 values here, like 5 values. And then list 5 values that are required in order to achieve that particular vision. Now, once you do that, then you're going to compare and you're going to take note. You're going to figure out, what do I need to do or what changes do I need to make? And then the last question that you're going to ask yourself based off of this grand vision that you've just written down, what has to be the most important value? What has to be the top one? So remember how in the example, we did security first, connection and freedom, and everything was based off of security um, being the filter, the main filter of the other two. That's going to be the same thing. What has to be the top priority that everything else is going to filter through? When you are doing this exercise, you want to make sure that you do it someplace where you're like it's maybe an inspiring place. Go someplace quiet so you're not going to be distracted. I've also done this exercise right here in my home office, and it was just fine. If you need it to be quiet, make sure you're communicating with your family, with your household, letting them know, listen, I need quiet for about a good 2 hours. Go do something, get out, and I'll talk to you later. Put the phone on do not disturb. You don't need any notifications. Just put the most important ones, the 911 notifications. They can come through, but everything else, do not disturb. And really think through this entire process. Don't allow limitations to come in. Don't allow fear to come in, because once you let that creep in, then it's a wrap. So do it without fear, do it without limitations. So, after you've done this and you've written down what your new values are, I want you to put it someplace that you're going to see every single day. That means you're writing it down a couple of different ways. That's fine. If you need to make a vision board off of it, a digital vision board, if you need to make, like I just showed you, I did my laptop and I have like my little vision board on there, but my vision board is more core values than it is of things I want to achieve. It's more of the person I have to become, because that's the actual goal, right? Um, and then once you start putting it in places you'll see every day, your bathroom, maybe your kitchen, on your phone, you want to make sure it's something that you see all the time. It's something that you see every day, because it's going to help you start making decisions that are going to reflect those new values. Once you start making decisions that reflect the new values, those decisions are going to lead to new habits. Those decisions or those habits are going to lead to a new lifestyle, because you're going to start changing. Another thing to look at, you may want to Google this. I'll put a link down below, but James Clear, the author of Atomic Habits, he does or he used to do, I don't know if he still does them or not, but he used to do a like an annual review, like I think it's called like an integrity review or something like that, where he would kind of do a recap of his year, and then he would list what his core values are, and then he would list out different questions for each core value, and then how he would answer those questions, like the things that he did that reflects that particular core value. So I think that's a great accountability exercise. But to wrap this up, just know that your core values are going to allow you to make firm decisions. And these firm decisions are going to be attached to a very clear why. You're going to have a clear reason why you made that decision, instead of making the decisions like, just sound good. I'm just going to try this out. No, we have a very clear reason why we're not doing that anymore. I'm waking up at 5 a.m. now because I know I need to get exercise in. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, they're non-negotiable. So this is where your non-negotiables come into play. Your values and vision are also the foundation to any goal that you set. So if you're setting a goal, especially if you're building a business, if you're setting a goal and you know that visibility is very important, then part of that visibility is going to be posting on social media. It's going to be putting that video out. It's going to be going live. So you have to make sure that you're making time and you're making the appropriate preparations to do those things. That's a part of your value. Your value is in accomplishing that goal. Your value is you value being disciplined. A disciplined person would do X, Y, Z. That's the lens that you're looking at. And then lastly, your values are your guiding posts. If you're not doing something, it's because it goes against your values. If you are doing something, that's because it's aligned with your values. So if you like this video and you want to learn more, you want more videos like this is my jam. Go ahead and make sure you hit subscribe below. I'm trying to get to 100 subscribers. I want to get to 100 subscribers before the end of my 12 weeks. So that is my goal for these 12 weeks. And in order to do that, one of my core values is discipline, and a disciplined person will make sure that they do everything that they need to do, which is put a video out every week in order to, have content available so that people will get to know me, learn something, I can give value, and they'll join the family. So again, make sure you hit subscribe, and I'll talk to you in the next video. See you later. Bye.